After her four MAGA co-hosts stupidly suggested that President Biden is struggling to fundraise, liberal Fox News commentator Jessica Tarlov brought the receipts, destroyed their right-wing talking points, and reminded them of just how desperate and cash-strapped Donald Trump and the Republican Party actually are. But before we unpack all that, if you end up liking this video and you want to support the channel, please be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and alert bell before you go. I'd greatly appreciate it. All right, friends, we have several clips to look at in this video. Again, I make no apologies for another Jessica Tarlov video. She is pregnant. She is about to be on maternity leave. We were going to lose her for a couple of months. We got to get our fix in. And once again, she just made so many damn good points, even as her four MAGA co-hosts made some very stupid, blatantly dishonest, and easily debunkable points. And it all has to do with fundraising, right? Of all the points to try to attack President Biden and the Democrats on, her right-wing co-host suggested that President Biden is struggling to fundraise because he teamed up with former presidents Barack Obama and Bill Clinton. As a matter of fact, this most recent fundraiser, I think it's going on as we speak, is poised to raise $25 million, which would be a record-breaking sum for a fundraising event. And for whatever reason, the four MAGA co-hosts on the five are complaining about it. They say it's a sign of desperation. And Jessica Tarlov debunks all of this, but I just want to point out again, $25 million is going to be a blockbuster sum of money. And we've talked about in previous videos how President Biden and the Democrats keep outperforming Donald Trump in the fundraising of the Republican National Committee again and again and again, quarter after quarter after quarter. As a matter of fact, I think during the last fundraiser tallies, Biden and the Democrats had double the cash on hand compared to Trump and the Republicans. And it's nothing new. It's not spurious. It's been a repeated pattern. But with all that in mind, we're going to play some Jessica Tarlov clips and unpack them together.
And that's it. But the idea that Joe Biden is struggling to raise money is ludicrous. The man had a $10 million haul in the 24 hours after the State of the Union. He had the largest fundraising month on record in February. The RNC is in complete tatters. The DNC is cruising. And anyone in their right mind would give almost anything to be able to raise $25 million.
This is true, and certainly Donald Trump would. Before I comment, I want to play a continuation of this clip, and then again, we'll unpack it together.
And it's custom for previous presidents to campaign with the new presidents of their own party. No one made fun of Barack Obama when he said, Bill Clinton is my explainer in chief. I can't connect with people in kind of a folksy way, so I need Bill Clinton to come with me and to explain my policies this way. And then Obama obviously campaigned for Hillary Clinton, who didn't win the race, but for Joe Biden, and Bill Clinton was out there for him too. This is what you do. And there is a common enemy, and the enemy is whoever is at the top of the Republican ticket, and that is a shared mission. But you know, Donald Trump will get his money out of the SPAC for sure, but you have this contrast of someone who is selling out events like this, which by the way has tickets that go for $200. It's not all $500,000. And Donald Trump is on, you know, doing ads hawking $60 Bibles. He's siphoning off donor money to pay for his legal fees.
That's something that we've talked about as well, that reports indicate that Donald Trump was spending an absurd amount of money, donor money, to pay off his legal fees, even though he's ostensibly a multi-billionaire. So the various red rural state conservative voters, many of whom are cash-strapped, given how relatively impoverished red states are. These are people who are donating to Donald Trump their hard-earned money, right, out of a sincere belief that this man will take care of them. And he's squandering that money not to actually dedicate towards campaign events, but for legal bills because he can't help but commit crime, right? You would think at the bare minimum, he would dedicate that money towards official political events and use his own multi-billion-dollar, treasure chest or whatever we're going to call it for his own legal fees. You would think he would at least have enough tact and integrity to do that, but he won't. So Jessica Tarlov points out here, there's a very stark contrast between these two men and the positions they're in. And listen, that's not to say that as the campaign kicks on, as we get closer to it, that Donald Trump won't close the gap in terms of fundraising. It's entirely possible. In the past, Trump did very, very well with respect to fundraising. Now it seems to be the exact opposite, that people are less inclined, at least in terms of overall raw numbers, to give him their money. But again, that may change. But let's not pretend that that's not the reality right now. Joe Biden enjoys a colossal advantage over Donald Trump. But even the five, they're so anti-Biden. They have Biden derangement syndrome, where they're so anti-Biden, they can't even concede to that. They have such Trump derangement syndrome that they can't even acknowledge Trump's weakness, his current weakness with respect to fundraising. But the other thing I want to point out, because we didn't talk about it, is Jessica Tarlov points out that Trump is so desperate, he's hawking $60 Bibles that he's also packing in with the Constitution. And as people have pointed out, it's great that he combines these two things because he's never read either. He's never read the Constitution or the Bible, right? And yet it's such a transparent grift what he's doing here, especially given how you can get the Constitution for free easily, right? And you can probably get even Bibles for free too. If you go to a church or whatever, they'll probably hand you one for free. But Donald Trump is so desperate and he's so transparent in his grift. He's packaging these things together to try to exploit people's patriotism. Super gross. I want to play you a clip, just a very short clip of him. So again, so disingenuously, so transparently, so unpersuasively, unconvincingly holding up this Bible and trying to come off pious.
Religion and Christianity are the biggest things missing from this country. And I truly believe that we need to bring them back, and we have to bring them back fast. I think it's one of the biggest problems we have. That's why our country is going haywire. We've lost religion in our country. All Americans need a Bible in their home, and I have many. It's my favorite book. It's a lot of people's favorite book.
Don, nobody, absolutely nobody believes you that you own Bibles, that it's your favorite book. So ridiculous. Like, who believes this? Who believes this? It's sad. It's sad. It's pathetic. And you know, the sad thing is, I know people in my life, people whom I love, that will fall for this. And it's hard not to be really frustrated with them because Donald Trump is the complete antithesis to ostensible Christian values, certainly to the values espoused by Jesus Christ in the New Testament. Donald Trump is as far from that as humanly possible. And if you don't believe me, I want to play this compilation, which should remind you of just how unchristian-like Donald Trump really is.
For years now, Donald Trump has insisted his favorite book is the Bible. But for years now, he has also been seemingly unable or at least unwilling to recall any of its specifics.
The whole Bible is an incredible. I joke very much so. They always hold up the Art of the Deal. I say my second favorite book of all time. But I just think the Bible is just something very special.
I'm wondering what one or two of your most favored Bible verses are and why.
I wouldn't want to get into it because to me that's very personal. You know, when I talk about the Bible, it's very personal. So I don't want to get into verses. I don't want to get into.
There's no verse that means a lot to you that you think about or cite.
The Bible means a lot to me, but I don't want to get into specifics.
Is there a favorite Bible verse or Bible story that has informed your thinking or your character through life, sir?
Well, I think many. I mean, you know, when we get into the Bible, I think many, so many.
An Old Testament guy or a New Testament guy?
Probably equal.
That's hard to watch. Listen, Donald Trump has not read the Bible. Donald Trump is not a practicing Christian. Listen, that's okay. I'm not somebody who believes, and I wish more people would believe this. I don't believe that you have to be Christian or pretend to be Christian to be an effective politician. It's actually kind of sad that we're still in that place where we have to appeal to religiosity in order to elect politicians. But Donald Trump is so obviously not a Christian, or at least, again, I should be very clear. Donald Trump does not embody or practice the values of Jesus Christ as espoused in the New Testament. Because I hate to tell people this, and I know this is going to trigger people. If Jesus Christ were a Democrat or were an American citizen, and he was an eligible voter, he would be voting Democrat. He would certainly never, ever, 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 ever vote for Donald Trump. Joe Biden, say what you want about him, it's simply a fact. There's infinitely more evidence that Joe Biden is a practicing Christian who attempts to live by the values espoused by Christ in the New Testament than Donald Trump ever has. And yet he's going to continue to grift off this. But why is he grifting? Well, to go back to Jessica Tarlov's point, he's desperate. He's transparent. You can see it in his face. You can hear it in his tone of voice. It's where Donald Trump is. And again, any argument you want to make about Biden versus Trump, I'm sure there are plenty of things to make, at least in terms of perception, in terms of electoral prospects, that favor Trump. Certainly not the substance, but you can make certain arguments that favor Trump on perception. But fundraising, not one of them. And it's really stupid that the five would even imply that Joe Biden doesn't enjoy a colossal advantage on Trump and try to dock him points because he's leaning on former presidents Obama and Clinton. That's what people do. And if Donald Trump weren't such a fascistic loser, he could probably count on the support of previous Republicans as well, except I think the only living former Republican president at this point is President Bush, George W. Bush, because H.W. Bush is dead. But that's where we are. If there were more Republican presidents, former Republican presidents alive, they would probably back Trump if they thought he wasn't a fascistic loser. But unfortunately, he is, and so he can't count on their support. So, sorry. Anyway, love that performance from Jessica Tarlov. Love those clips. Let me know what you think in the comments.